Hello there, friend and fellow maker. Welcome to the shop. You've got both Bill
and Britt
here today, and we're excited because we're making something from one of our very favorite video games, Outer Wilds. Not Outer Worlds, Outer Wilds.
I would describe it as a platforming puzzle detective game.
In space.
In space. It is so much fun, and if you've never heard of it, but any of that interests you, I encourage you to play it, but don't look up anything.
Be good.
It's a puzzle detective game, so the less you know, the better. Mm-hmm. And we played that game about a year ago, and I still think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so cool and clever, and there's some really cool art in it, too.
Very cool art. A lot of alien stuff, and one of the things that we liked the most were the Nomai masks. So Britt started figuring out how to build one out of foam, and that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Here is the fancy template I made. I'm not going to cut it all out right now. There's a bunch of layers for all of the eye holes. I have this guy as a reference. You can see there's a whole bunch of layers of foam here. So this is going to be like its own kind of puzzle.
Ooh.
I didn't want it to be that way, but that's kind of how it ended up. The dotted line here is to show how these pieces overlap and get taped together to form one piece. The whole thing didn't fit on one piece of paper. To come up with this template, whoops, oh gosh. Well, that just crunched that. Here we go. And any kind of clear or translucent tape is good for that. I just have this crummy masking tape I can put down. That's close enough. Perfect. To come up with this template, I took the 3D model from the game and made a papercraft template. It had to be modified a bunch, but I got it all figured out. I did all of that in an extra credit video for our extra credit club, which we have on Patreon and YouTube membership. So if you want to check that out, you can join and watch that video, as well as hundreds of other videos we've done on there. It's quite a catalog now.
And we thank you guys so much for your support over the years.
It's because of you I can take the time to make this awesome template and share it with everyone.
We'll have this template on our website too to download for free.
Yeah. Ta-da!
That is a nice template.
It is the first layer, I think. Wait, no. This one's the first layer. I put a little grayscale in the template to kind of show where the next layer goes. So it'll go like that.
Ooh.
See, ta-da! I gotta put that one together now.
All right, let's get to cutting.
For the foam, I put down 4mm thickness. Anything close to that's fine. In fact, you can scale up or scale down this whole pattern and just change the foam thickness to match. I'm going with 5mm foam because I'm a rebel, and it's what I have.
Yaya sent us a whole bunch.
Yeah, thanks for the foam, Yaya. It's great. All right, first one down. I think I'm gonna cut this out and then we can do the sides. Just about everything in this pattern is a straight cut. All the pieces are eventually gonna get really nice chamfers on them. Chamfer.
Chamfer. Is chamfer a French word? It sounds French. It sounds French when you say it like that. Anyway, I can make any word sound French.
It's rouleur.
Yes, this is my French pencil. And if it's French Canadian, then you're cutting your foam.
Foam. So this is the base part of the mask. There's this depth I'm going to add all the way around with the same thickness of foam. I have a little note here saying I want it to be about 5 centimeters thick. So I'm just going to cut out a long strip and then glue it around the outside. So I've got this long strip. Might need more than this. I'm just going to do one part at a time. So this will eventually go like that. Boop. What do you think, contact cement?
Contact cement.
Oh no.
No. Sharpen that knife.
Every face piece on top gets a little smaller and smaller, so I got the next one like that. And before I glue this down, I'm going to start cleaning up all the edges. They all need a nice chamfer.
Chamfer.
Got the edges all nice and smooth and cleaned up. I got contact cement on both sides. Kind of marked the corners of where this is going to go. Good enough. Yeah, this part's supposed to hang off the bottom here, just like the next piece, which is this one. This is where it starts getting a little crazy. This is another 4mm piece of foam. I'm still making modifications to my template, and these little trenches are all cut out and referenced here because we're going to cut these all the way through the foam. I'll turn it around and get the other corners. What do you think? Is this going to come out?
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty good. Helps to have an extra sharp knife. Oh, it's going to be cool. This will get glued down, but first, going to clean up the edges. Whoosh. Got more contact cement. I need to pick something that's not symmetrical to make someday. Like your tree mask from the Foamsmith 3 book.
Asymmetry is beautiful.
Brrr.
So fierce.
That looks great.
It does look great, Britt. I was going to say that before you said it.
I didn't make a template for this little nose piece, so I'll probably have that for any of you at home who try this pattern. I'll have a separate little piece for this guy. But I think I'm going to try 6mm for this, and then there's two little strips on the outside that are a little shorter that I'll do out of like 4mm or 5. Maybe I should have waited to cut that until I glued it in place. That'll be fine. So this part goes kind of like that. Here. So this whole thing is supposed to be recessed, so I think I'm just going to glue this back in place and then just chop off the extra on the bottom. Ah! Just going to sink that down like, I don't know, 1 or 2 millimeters. Just whatever looks nice. Ta-da! Now it is time to skin the fresh foam kill. I forgot that this piece is supposed to be offset, so it goes like about right there and snugs all the way along. And I already rounded over these edges. Oh yeah. I don't know how I managed to make this one eye too big, but I fixed it. I guess this is really, you know, a prototype assembly. This is the next layer. The eye holes get cut out, and I traced that onto another layer of 4mm, even though I'm actually using 5mm foam. Then I pop the eyes out, boop, boop. And I also softened all the edges. Look at that.
Looks very nice.
This is starting to look like a thing. The next layer of template are these thin little strips, and I'm going to try and lay them all down as one piece. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. So there are these little lines on here that are different. These pieces are kind of supposed to look like they overlap each other. I think I'm just going to score those in. It's right if I cut pretty deep because it's all glued down.
Smells like hot foam and barge.
You can even go in there with like a pen, kind of separate everything. Oh man, that looks great.
Yeah, it does.
I don't need this material anymore. There's quite a few layers of foam there now, so it's going to take a couple cuts to get all the way through. Yeah. Boop, boop. And I don't need these pieces anymore. So the next step is these little strips, and it'll be like this little lip around the top of this.
I love that smell.
I don't think you're supposed to like that smell.
Reminds me of my childhood.
For the inner eye pieces, I'm going to take some more of my 5mm foam and score in these lines, cut out the center, inset that, and have that be the inner eye. So this will be that piece, so I'll want to keep this part. Do the same thing, cut the lines, and then this will be cut all the way through.
Looking pretty good there.
White, white. I love it. Oh, so cool.
It looks just like you.
I think we're ready to move on to all of the horn or antler attachments. You want to help me with that, Bill?
Do I get to cut foam?
You get to cut foam.
Oh, I love cutting foam. This is so exciting.
Let's do it.
Yeah!
Some really good progress, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with what we've got going on here. Our little sub-assemblies are all done. They're all nice and cleaned up and look beautiful. We did scoring on these two pieces here, and we have our inset trenches all done. The back's all cleaned up. I think on the reference there are trenches and details on the backs of these horns, but I only care about what the front looks like, and since this is my mask, I get to choose what kind of detail we do. So I have 3 different thicknesses of foam here. This is the thinnest, then I have this thickness, and then this one's the thickest. And I just wanted to point out that I'm gonna be gluing these all centered. So since this piece is thinner, it's gonna be kind of centered on the thicker piece. And then this one's thinner, and it's gonna be centered there. It just gives it a little more of an offset, and it'll look super nice.
Did I do it right?
Yes.
Ta-da. Ooh, that looks nice.
It looks so cool. This is so cool. Just seeing this silhouette all together and all the foam pieces all fit. I mean, we had to make some adjustments. This horn was a little too short, so we made a little block, which looks very nice. Thank you, Bill. And these pieces all need to be heat formed a little bit into shape, but like this part's gonna get curved in a little bit, and we wanna heat seal the whole thing anyway before we put Plastidip on it. So let's do that right now. Check it. Check it.
Good job, Britt. It looks amazing.
I love it.
We're getting ready to paint it, so the next step is going to be Plastidip. I've got this stand here. It's a big hunk of wood with a clamp on it, and that's what I'm using to hold it. I just glued a bit of foam back there. So now it's upright. I can spray all the sides and let it dry overnight.
And we're going with Plastidip because Plastidip doesn't like to go down into little crevices, so it should keep all of the detail, hopefully.
Today is a new day. That's because we hose this down with 3 good layers of Plastidip, then we let it dry overnight. And it's looking really good, but it's missing something.
Paint.
It's missing paint, and I've got some paints right down here we're gonna put on there soon, but before that, Britt went and grabbed a reference image so we have an idea of what colors we need and where they all need to go. For this one, we're gonna start with this dusty desert sand color. It's kind of like a warmer off-white. We're gonna airbrush that over everything, but the problem is this is not an airbrush paint. We can fix that. This is the Plaid Effects paint. We have a whole bunch that they sent to us. And it's an acrylic paint, which means that we can thin it just using water. And that's all we have to do to get it so that we can run it through the airbrush. The sort of amount that we're looking for here, the amount of thinning, we want the paint to be about the consistency of milk.
None of that skim milk
Yeah,
stuff.
2% or higher. And this is getting there. That's a little thick still, so I'll just add a little bit more water. And then once it's runny enough, then we'll chuck it in the airbrush and we can spray it on our mask. And that looks pretty good to me.
What PSI should we use for this?
I generally go with about 25 PSI in the airbrush, but that can be tweaked if necessary. It is a day later. I sprayed 4 good layers of paint on here because it was thinned and it took that much to cover it, but I think it looks pretty great.
It's not tacky at all.
Yeah.
This feels really, really good.
I also did a test with the masking tape we're gonna use for the next step to make sure it doesn't pull any paint off. So we're all good to move on to that next step. And we have our design right here so we know which parts we need to mask off so that we can spray the lighter gray on for the next step. But after that, we'll do some hand painting for the gold and some dark gray right there.
Let's do it.
Let's do it! I guess we're not low on tape. We have plenty of tape. That should do it. That was the second layer of gold. It took 2 layers to get total coverage, but it's totally covered. And I think that's the very last thing that we had to paint, which means it's all done.
Nah.
Wait. Turkey. Britt, it's all done and it looks so cool.
It's amazing.
This was a challenge. There was a lot to go into this. You did most of the figuring out, which I appreciate. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And the paint, especially this gold, it's so shiny. It really sets off all the levels and layers that we have going on there.
And the back we kept really simple. Mm-hmm. Just kind of continued the lines there because I'm never going to see the back.
No. And we're probably just going to hang this on the wall, so there's no way to connect it to a head or anything or wear it. It's just more of a decoration than anything. But I love it, and I cannot wait to hang it up on the wall.
Yes.
So exciting. If you haven't played Outer Wilds, it's worth playing. It's worth checking out. Go in totally blind. Don't look anything up. Just dive in and explore their universe. It's amazing. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If you're super excited about foam smithing, like we've done on this foam mask, then we've got our Foamsmith books over on our website. We've got a whole trilogy, including the new one, Foamsmith 3, which is all about masks and helmets. It's pretty good too. Brittany and I made it. We're very proud.
It's very pretty.
It is very pretty. Great photos. Over almost 800 photos,
Yeah.
actually. More photos than words. Anyway, it was a pleasure having you here. We couldn't have done it without the help from our Extra Credit members. The Extra Credit Club is easy to join. You can join right here by joining a membership on YouTube or over on Patreon. Any level gets you in the club and gets you access to our weekly vlogs and behind the scenes project videos. Brittany did a really good video breaking down the templating and patterning for this mask.
Yeah, it was a learning experience.
And we shared the whole thing over on the Extra Credit Club. So thank you so much for the help. You guys are wonderful. If you want to join and help us out, links are down below. That'll wrap it up. I don't know what crazy thing we're going to make next, but it's going to be awesome. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. And we'll see you in the next build. Go ahead.
And hey, you need anything pressure washed?
Yeah, our neighbor's got you covered. Let's get the heat gun and fire it up.
Fire it up, fire it up, fire it up.
Modern rogue. 'Cause I'm a modern rogue!
Demonetized.
Yep.